Maharshi has said that to say I have realized or I know the self and I have not realized or I don't know the self are both matters for laughter. They are absurd statements. The self is not something objective to be known or unknown. Your being cannot become an object, conceived or perceived. And if a searching inquiry be made as to who is it that knows, who is it that does not know, there is found to be no one answering to the name of I. Inquire within yourself, taking your own sense of immutable existence as the basis of the inquiry. Trace out your own existence and know what is there. It is not the body. It is not any of the thoughts constituting the mind. What is it that is assumed to be an I, but which is actually existing all the time? What is it that it is assumed to become embodied, to have birth and death, but which is itself actually unborn, imperishable, and formless and unembodied? What is it that seems to be at the center of all thoughts, yet itself actually is never conceived, the unknown knower of all that is known, as the Upanishad says? What is it that you truly are? If just this much is realized, Brahman knows Brahman. Reality comprehends itself. With a knowledge that is eternal. Not a knowledge divided into knower, knowing, and known, but non-dual knowledge, in which being and knowledge are identical. Being is not an object, and it is not an activity. Likewise, knowledge is not something gained or lost. In the inquiry to know yourself, the dissolution of the inquirer, or the penetration into the nature of the inquirer, is what is essential. The dissolution of his individuality, what seems to mark him off as a separate being, the abandonment of such false definition, is the progress so called. Actually, one is traveling no distance whatsoever. It is more like dreaming you were one thing and waking up to find that you were not that thing at all, that you were dreaming. If this happens, is there any transformation? Yet the old delusion is gone. Misidentification constituted the delusion. And delusion alone was the cause of any of the bondage or suffering experienced in that dream. To be free of suffering, to liberate yourself from the imagined bondage, be rid of delusion. Delusion is just confusion regarding your own nature, taking yourself to be something that you are not. Inquiry resolves the delusion and reveals a knowledge that is innate. In the earnest attempt to realize this knowledge, approach by dissolution of what you assume yourself to be. If all that is falsely supposed is abandoned, then without anything more whatsoever, The remainder is the truth itself, the Supreme Self itself, happy and at peace in its own nature always. Suppose yourself to be the ego, and the self will seem to be elusive. Inquire and find the non-existence of that I, and you yourself are what you have found. Falsely assume yourself to be the body, and realization will seem exceedingly difficult. God or the Absolute will seem to be something other. Abandon the misidentification with the body. Then where are you? Where is God? If identified with the body, you will look for the self as something sensed, or as a sensing entity. Be free of such confusion. If identified with the mind, you will look for the self or realization, or reality, in the form of some mental mode or mental state. Your real nature, what is to be realized, is free of any mental mode, free of any mental state, whether it be waking, dreaming, deep dream or sleep, or any mode occurring within those states. You are not a state of mind. The realization is likewise. You are not a condition of the body. The realization is likewise. Free of the body, free of the mind. Non-objective, unchanging. This space-like, very real remainder, which alone has been existing always, is the truth of your being. Know it experientially, firsthand for yourself. It is natural by the dissolution of the one who supposedly does not know.